Hello, children. Today Abby's telling you the story about the lion inside. And let's open up and see all that it has to tell us. In a dry, dusty place where the sand sparkled gold stood a mighty flat rock, all craggy and old. There's the great big rock, and golden sun around, and somebody sitting on top. And under the rock, in a tiny, tiny full house, lived the littlest, quietest, meekest brown mouse. There's the little mouse's house, underneath the great big rock. He was so very tiny, so incredibly small, that nobody noticed him ever at all. And there he is saying hello in the grass. And there's the great big legs of the giraffe and the antelope all walking around him, but they don't even know he's there. He got trod on and sat on and missed out for stuff, ignored and forgotten. Oh yes, mouse life was tough. Look, he's been stood on by an elephant, and he's been sat on, he's saying, ouch, by a zebra. And he's so sad, he's crying, he's saying, yes, mouse life was tough. Meanwhile, far above, on top of the rock, times were quite different. It was lion o'clock. There's the great big lion. He's sitting on top of the rock. This huge, toothsome creature made sure everyone saw how important he was by how loud he could roar. He was head of the pack. He was shouty and tough. He loved showing the crowd. He was made of strong stuff. Look, he's even holding a hippopotamus on top of his head. Yes, all were impressed by this mighty king cat. If only, thought Mouse, I could be more like that. There's the little tiny mouse. He's so impressed by this great big lion because everybody's watching him. And everyone's so impressed by what this lion is doing. Then, late one dark night, in his Minnie Mouse bed, the cleverest thought popped into his head. He jumped from the covers and held up a paw. "I've got it," he said. "What I need is a roar." There's the little mouse sitting in his bed thinking about how he can roar. I mean, what if this mouse was the weeniest, with the weeniest squeak, was a little more grrr and a little less meek? He's looking in the mirror. Well, he'd still be the smallest of fuzzy brown mice, but he'd make friends and join in, and life would be nice. There's the little mouse sitting on a little rock. He thinks life would be so nice if everybody, all the animals, took notice of him. Yes, thought the mouse, I must find out how I will learn how to roar, and I will learn it now. So he's looking at a book. But gulp, oh my gosh, there was only one beast who could teach him this thing, but might make him a feast. And there he thinks the lion is the only one who could teach him, but he's afraid if he goes and asks, the lion would eat him. It was time to be strong, take a chance. After all, forever was such a long time to feel small. There's a poor little mouse looking at the moon. There's the moon shining in the sky, and he's feeling he must be strong. So he made himself brave, and he thought like a winner. He set off for the top, hoping not to be dinner. So he's climbing up that great big rock at night. He's very brave. It felt like the scariest thing he could do. But if you want things to change, you first have to change you. The further he climbed, the closer he got to the slumbering lion reclining on top. There's the lion right at the top. And there's the little mouse. He's climbing up all the rocks. Then at last, as he stood on his tippy toes, he found himself suddenly nose to nose. Gulp, pardon me. Wake up, Mr. Lion. You've got company. Squeak. Mr. Lion, what I've come to you for is squeak. Do you think you could teach me your roar? The lion is still fast asleep. And look, there's the little mouse on top of the rock. They are nose to nose. What do you think happens next? A silence befell that twinkling plain. Lion opened his eyes and puffed out his mane. Time slowed right down. Why, it felt like a week. Then he opened his mouth and let out a eek, said the lion. He got a great big fright. And why? He's looking at this tiny little mouse. The lion was shaking, his paws all a fumble. He was backing away with a scrambling tumble. "Don't hurt me," he whispered. "Oh, try to be nice." Well, my goodness, this lion was frightened of mice. "Don't worry," Mouse peeped. "I'm a friend, not a foe. Let's rock this together. We'll have fun. Don't you know?" There's the lion all afraid, and there's the mouse feeling very brave. And look, he's still got a bandage on his tail from when he got stood on by that elephant. That was a magical moment for sure, when Mouse didn't feel at all small anymore. He had found his true voice and learned how to speak out. And for that, you don't need to roar or to shout. Oh, look where he's sitting now. He's sitting up on top of the lion's head, in amongst his mane, whispering into his ear, I think. And from that day and always, the two were a pair. They both liked that rock better, now that rock was to share. The mouse, while still little, felt big in his head. The lion, he still roared, but with a laughter instead. Ha 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 ha! And there sits the little mouse on top of his nose. Yes, that day they both learnt that no matter your size, we all have a mouse and a lion inside. And there they sit on top of the rock, the mouse and the lion, happily together, looking over the plain where all the animals lived.